Hey, this is Ryan from Rocket SaaS, and you're listening to the SaaS Marketing Weekly podcast, the show that gives you actionable marketing strategies and campaign ideas to rocket your SaaS business. And if you want even more SaaS marketing ideas, go to saasmarketingweekly.com to join my free newsletter. Hey there, welcome back to SaaS Marketing Weekly with me, your host Ryan, the founder of Rocket SaaS. Today we're talking about messaging. I've talked about messaging a bunch of times on this podcast because it is the number 1, 2, and 3 most common mistake I see with B2B SaaS businesses. For some reason, they are so bad at messaging. If you have poor messaging, your website's going to suck, your marketing is going to suck, your sales decks are going to suck. And if everything sucks, then you're not going to make any sales. It's all going to go wrong. Alternately, if you've got great messaging that's really clear, your ads are going to get more clicks. Your organic content is going to get more engagement. People are going to stay longer on your website. You're going to get more conversions. You're going to make more sales. You're going to make more money. You're going to scale that business. The messaging is like the lifeblood of your whole business. You have to get it right. So in this podcast, I'm going to introduce to you the 5-second messaging test. As I'm sure you've heard a bunch of times, attention spans are super, super short. If people are on LinkedIn scrolling past one of your ads, or they just pop onto your website because they're inquisitive about it, you've only got a few seconds to grab their attention. I've heard a bunch of different numbers banded around: 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 7 seconds, 10 seconds. I'm going to say you got 5 seconds for someone to come onto your website and make the decision as to whether they're going to stay on the website and scroll down to read more, or if they're just going to click off because they don't quite get it. So most SaaS websites fail the 5-second test. Most people that come on to most SaaS websites within 5 seconds, they don't understand what that business does, how it benefits them. The main reasons is vague buzzwords, overly technical language, too many features, too much talking about yourself, which just leaves your customers confused. And one of my favorite marketing sayings, you confuse, you lose. Today, I'll show you how to test your messaging, make it instantly clear, and turn more visitors into booked demos or trials or sales calls, whatever you're trying to get. But let's continue to talk about mistakes where I see things go wrong. If you're listening to this podcast, perhaps pull up the homepage of your website, see if you suffer from these things. Buzzwords. The most common buzzword I see in 2025 and probably 2024 is AI powered. If your website, if the first couple of words in your main header is AI powered, that may have been cool like 18 months ago and it may have helped your headline, but now it's so generic, everybody's saying it doesn't mean anything. Or next gen, or something like robust cloud solution, or industry leading. None of that stuff really means anything, doesn't tell me anything. When you wrote it, you may think, oh, that sounds impressive, but it's only impressive if it means something. So dump the buzzwords. Also, too much emphasis on features. People want the benefits, not the features. And also be careful with the technicalities. What I see a lot is the founders of the business are the technical people, the sort of developers that built the product. And therefore, when they speak, the language is too technical. And that's fine if you're targeting technical people, but if your audience are not technical, saying things like dynamic blockchain, API-driven workflow automation, it's going to confuse people. Your messaging needs to be clear, specific, and instantly compelling. So the 5-second test is to ask somebody that knows nothing about your product. It could be a friend, a random LinkedIn connection, could be someone in your office, could be a family member. Show them your website homepage and ask them, what does this company do? Set the timer, give them 5 seconds, and then close the laptop lid or close the website or turn the phone away from them. If they can't explain what your product does in one simple sentence, then your messaging is broken. If they're confused and they don't have the answer, then you want to dive deeper and start asking them questions. Ask them, why did you think that? Was it the imagery? Was it the words that you read? Was it the branding? And listen to their questions. Do they ask you any clarifying questions? Or they might just say, I have no idea, which is probably the most common answer. So if your messaging isn't clear to a complete outsider, it's not clear enough for your potential customers either. So run that test to a bunch of people and start to log the results. And you can use that data to back up your argument. Like if you are the marketing manager and you're saying that this messaging is not clear, people are not getting it, but maybe your CEO is like, no, the messaging's great because I wrote it and it's fine. Or the other way around. Maybe you're the owner of the company and you're not happy with the messaging, but the marketing manager says it's great. Use these sorts of tests to back up and validate your opinion that the messaging is not quite right. And these 5-second tests that you can do is a brilliant way to give you the answers that you're looking for. So once you've run the 5-second test, if you pass, then great. Turn off the podcast, listen to something else. But if you failed, then you need to start addressing your messaging so that you can pass that test. Now, the key thing about the 5-second test is about the headline. You've only got 5 seconds. You've really only got time to read that big headline at the top of your homepage and glance at the graphic. So we're talking about messaging today. I'm not going to talk too much about the graphics. So with the messaging, there's a 3-part formula to have a clear headline. So in the formula, you want to clarify who you help, what you help them do, and how you do it. So let's give you an example. Let's say you're some sort of recruitment SaaS. A bad example might be next-gen AI-powered talent acquisition engine, whereas a good example would be we help recruiters automate outreach and schedule more interviews without manual follow-ups. So that is so clear and does what it says in the tin. So to break that up, the first few words, we help recruiters. So in those 3 simple words, it shows you who I am targeting. The next section of the header, automate outreach and schedule more interviews. So that's your benefit statement, what you help them do. Automate outreach, schedule more interviews. Brilliant. That's a massive benefit for recruiters. Then the ending of the header, without manual follow-ups. So again, a strong benefit and objection handling in the header. Let me give you another example. Let's say you were some kind of a SaaS that did LinkedIn outreach automation. A bad example would be AI-powered data-driven growth accelerator platform. It sounds awful, but you see it so often. But a good example would be we help B2B marketers automate LinkedIn outreach and book more sales calls. So it's very clear who we're targeting. We help B2B marketers. Very clear what the benefits are. Automate LinkedIn outreach and book more sales calls. That's your main header, your H1. Now I'm going to talk about the bit that goes under the main header, the subheader, or the H2 using HTML terms. And this is where you should explain the unique value. So the header is clearly identified who you target, the benefits, and how you do it. And you've only got a few words to get that in. Ideally, it should be 10 words or less. So now the subheader, which can be smaller font, you want to outline the unique value. That example of that LinkedIn automation tool, the second section, the subheader, I go with something along the lines of, our AI tool finds your ideal buyers, sends personalized messages, and fills your calendar with qualified leads. So again, very does what it says on the tin. No buzzwords, no clever phrases. It just goes into a little bit more detail in how we do it with a strong benefit statement at the end too. And then underneath the subheader, you want a call to action. So try it for free in 14 days would be a good one. Or book an obligation consultancy call. Or book a 30-minute demo. So that is the perfect hero section when it comes to messaging. So once you've written it, and you're undoubtedly going to have a few different drafts, maybe get a few different people in the business having a stab at this, you should be using tools to test it. You can try tools like Winter, W-Y-N-T-E-R, Usability Hub, or Pollfish to get real user feedback. So you can present these different headers, subheaders, calls to action, and ask people in the survey, what do you think this company does? Or what do you think is the strongest messaging? You could also run LinkedIn ad tests or even meta ad tests. So you can create ads with each of your different variations and then see which ones get the most click-through rates. Or heat maps is another one. You can use a tool like Hotjar, and you can have 3 different landing pages if you've got 3 different alternates for this messaging, and then see which people scroll down past the header the most, or how many people just bounce off the page without scrolling down, and see which page performs better in terms of bounce rate, scroll. And then you are using data to get an understanding of what is the best messaging, as opposed to just everyone in the office kind of agreeing and deciding what's the best messaging. You should always be using data, surveys, a bit of ad spend, heat mapping to understand exactly what is getting the most results. So give that a go. The 5-second test, I call it. Get one of your colleagues, friends, family, whoever, give them 5 seconds to understand what your business does just by looking at the homepage. If most people fail that test and they cannot explain what you do, then get to work on rewriting the messaging. Use the framework, who you help, what you help them do, and how you do it. And then use a little bit of ad spend and some surveys to get data to really understand what is the best messaging for you. But have some fun with it. Good luck. And for more SaaS marketing tips, I'll see you next week on SaaS Marketing Weekly.